Hello, my name is Gabby and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, then welcome to my channel, and today's video is going to be my spoiler-free review for Fevered Star by Rebecca Roanhorse, and this is the sequel to Black Sun. I also do have a spoiler-free review for Black Sun that I did on this channel that I will have linked in a card up around the top of the screen somewhere. And then the content warnings for both of these books will be linked down below in the description as well. And while this review is spoiler-free for Fevered Star, it is a sequel, so I would definitely recommend reading Black Sun first before watching this video. Not that we're getting into anything too deep here, but just in case. So Black Sun is book one of the Between Earth and Sky trilogy. It is an adult epic fantasy inspired by the civilizations of the pre-Columbian Americas. It takes place in a city called Tova around the time of the winter solstice, which is usually a time for celebration and renewal. Or it would be, but the solstice this year is around the same time as a solar eclipse, which according to the Sun Priest signifies an unbalancing of the world. At the same time, a ship begins its adventure toward Tova carrying a seemingly harmless passenger, but the captain does have her suspicions about him. I do just want to start this video with a brief overview of my thoughts on Black Sun. It was a book that I read last year during a terrible reading slump. And it was one of the books that basically not only broke me out of that reading slump, but also just basically saved my entire reading year. Easy 5-star, mostly all around. I got super lost and invested in the story and the world, and I needed to know everything about it. I still do, but as we'll talk about later on in this video, I am a lot closer to that goal than I was before. But I do want to talk about the characters first, so we're gonna start there. I've said this on this channel a couple of times already, but I was pretty neutral on the characters in book one. I certainly did like them, with like our Sun Priest maybe standing out a little bit more than the others, but not by much. Things have changed though. We get various points of view from the characters. There were like 3 to 4 in Black Sun, and I think we got 5 in here. And it kind of just switches back and forth as you're reading. And the story also does have a lot of LGBTQIA+ characters, which is once again always super lovely to see. Something that I noticed immediately about Fevered Star was that I was suddenly having feelings about the characters. My favorite chapters this time around were definitely from our ship captain that I mentioned in the synopsis. And I don't know, I feel like I was able to have more fun with the characters this time around. I just don't think my brain registered how much I liked these characters in Black Sun. And it's nice to see that that has finally like cemented itself in my brain as a reality. I will say this is kind of where my current reading slump comes into play. There was a certain character whose chapters I don't think showed up as much in comparison to everyone else's, but I just couldn't get into them, and that is unfortunately a feeling that did show up more than I would have liked throughout the story. And I say unfortunately because I did really like the story and I wish I got into it more. Because there was a moment between 80 to 200 pages where I was on a roll. I was completely invested and compelled, and it was so exciting. But even after and before that, I did still like what I was reading, for the most part at least. I loved how much of the world we got to learn about in here. It was so interesting, and like I mentioned at the beginning of this review, it is one of the main things that I wanted from this series. And I got it. I also just love the politics and the tensions and the strategy that the characters were taking part in. And the story took quite a few turns that surprised me and did not disappoint. And then there were also things that I didn't know that I needed in my life until they showed up in here. There are also some really great relationships throughout the story that felt complex for various reasons, for various circumstances. As for the romance, this was not really a romance-heavy book, I would say, but it was present. I actually kind of preferred the way romance was used in this book to the way that it was used in book one. It even made me come around on the romance that I wasn't a big fan of in Black Sun. So I'm interested to see where that goes, because I was not expecting that. I was actually kind of dreading it a little bit going into this. And overall, I just liked how romance itself was utilized here. It made things really interesting for certain characters. I also enjoyed how the characters interacted with each other, because like I mentioned before, things are complex. There's a lot of political intrigue and strategies at play. And it was fun and interesting, and I was able to get lost, and my brain was able to like interact with the content and the characters and like theorize and stuff like that. While this story did give me a lot that I wanted and a lot that I wanted to learn about, while simultaneously throwing me even deeper into my obsession with this series. Part of me does kind of feel like this book was mostly a setup for the next book, which both mildly disappoints me for this one and also makes me incredibly excited for the third book, because I liked what we got here and I do think that things were set up really well. Overall, do I think this book broke me out of my reading slump like I was hoping it was going to? No, not at all, but there were definitely some moments. And I enjoyed following a lot of these characters and all of the interesting concepts for the amount of time that we got to be with them. As for my rating, I think I'm going to go with a 4.5 out of 5 for this one, but this series has just become such a favorite of mine and I cannot wait for more. Okay, so that is all I have for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and answer the question that'll be around here if you want to do that. And hopefully I will see you here next time. Bye!